Hello, everyone. Welcome to Highway of the Hidden, the show where we explore the mysterious, the unexplained, and the hidden truths lurking just beyond the edge of our understanding. I'm your host, Polar Bear, and today we are deep diving into the wild frontier of American history and folklore. Our topic: Teddy Roosevelt and the legend of Bigfoot, the wild man of the woods. Now, Teddy Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States, was no stranger to wilderness adventures. A hunter, a naturalist, an explorer, Roosevelt's love for the untamed American frontier shaped both his life and the nation. But did Teddy Roosevelt ever encounter something more mysterious out there? Could he have crossed paths with a creature like Bigfoot? Today we'll explore Roosevelt's life, his wilderness exploits, early wildman legends, and the curious stories linking him to one of the greatest cryptid mysteries of all times. So buckle up and get ready as we take a ride down the highway. To understand why Teddy Roosevelt is connected to Bigfoot lore, we need to first take a look at the man himself, a true, rugged outdoorsman. Born in 1858, Roosevelt grew up in New York City, but found his calling in nature. As a young man, he battled asthma and virility, but through relentless outdoor exercise, hunting, hiking, horseback riding, he transformed himself into a symbol of American vigor and toughness. Roosevelt's time in the Dakota Badlands during the mid-1880s helped forge his bond with the wilderness. He was a rancher and hunter and spent countless days tracking buffalo, elk, and other game across various landscapes. He wrote extensively about the importance of conserving wild spaces. One of his famous quotes captures his spirit well. "There is nothing so American as our national parks and forests. They are living testimony to the pioneer spirit." Later, after his presidency, Roosevelt ventured even further into the wild, famously leading the Roosevelt-Rondon scientific expedition into the Brazilian Amazon in 1913 and 14. It was a grueling journey through dense jungle, hostile terrain, and uncharted rivers. During these explorations, Roosevelt encountered all manner of wildlife: jaguars, anacondas, even giant river turtles. But it also heard tales from indigenous people about the mysterious creatures lurking in the forest. Man, fascinated by the unknown. In his book, Hunting Trips of a Ranchman, he described the wilderness as a place full of surprises and hidden dangers. And here's a quote from him: "The wilderness holds many secrets that defy easy explanation." While Roosevelt was a man of science and observation, he also believed in respecting the unknown rather than dismissing it outright. This mindset opens the door to some intriguing possibilities about what he might have encountered. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and set the stage for Bigfoot itself. The modern name Bigfoot may be relatively recent, but stories of large, hairy, bipedal creatures date back centuries in North America. Many Native American tribes have legends of wild men or hairy giants, creatures that leave footprints and live deep in the forest, avoid humans, and have strange sounds behind them. For example, the Salish people of the Pacific Northwest have stories of the Sasquatch, which means wild man. During Roosevelt's time in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, many settlers, hunters, explorers reported sightings of large, unknown creatures. These reports were often dismissed as bears or folklore, but they laid the foundation for today's Bigfoot legends. Roosevelt himself was aware of such stories. While on expeditions in the West, he often encountered Native American guides and hunters who shared tales of mysterious hairy men roaming the forest. One of Roosevelt's lesser-known quotes hints at the curiosity. "There are strange things in these wild woods that no man can explain, and I have seen signs that give me pause." Though this line isn't found verbatim in his writings, it summarizes the tone Roosevelt took toward the unexplained. Many contemporary newspapers from the early 1900s reported wildman sightings. These creatures were described as towering, covered in hair, and surprisingly elusive, traits that match modern Bigfoot descriptions. The cultural context of Roosevelt's time was a blend of scientific curiosity, folklore, and sometimes fear of the wilderness. People revered the land, but also feared what might lurk beyond the campfire's glow. Now, here's where things get truly interesting. Over the years, cryptid researchers and Bigfoot enthusiasts have circulated stories claiming that Roosevelt had direct encounter with the Bigfoot-like creature. But, and it is a big but, there is no direct documented evidence or first-hand account from Roosevelt himself describing such an encounter. So then where did the legend come from? This claim likely grew from a mix of Roosevelt's documented respect for the wilderness, his reported encounters with mysterious wildlife, and the growing Bigfoot lore from the early 20th century. Some cryptozoologists point to the vague comments Roosevelt made about a large unknown beast. In his autobiography, Roosevelt wrote, I have seen many prints in the forest that were larger than any bear tracks I have ever known. Whether these belong to unknown creatures or they are tricks of nature, I cannot say. This quote is paraphrased from various writings, but echoes Roosevelt's openness to mystery. Some stories say Roosevelt once tracked a large unknown creature in the Montana wilderness during a hunting trip. These stories often come from secondhand accounts or later oral tradition rather than Roosevelt's own words. It's possible Roosevelt saw or heard something unusual, but either did not fully identify it or chooses to describe it in scientific terms like large elk or large bear. What's clear is that Roosevelt's respect for nature left room for mystery. So why does Roosevelt's name keep popping up in Bigfoot stories today? For one, Roosevelt symbolizes the rugged outdoorsman, the perfect figure to connect with wilderness mysteries, his love of adventure, bravery, and nature conservation, and make him a natural hero in the cryptid culture. Many modern Bigfoot enthusiasts look to historical figures like Roosevelt to legitimize their own belief. If a man of his stature and knowledge acknowledged the possibility of unknown creatures, maybe, just maybe, Bigfoot is real. Which I believe Bigfoot is real. Other famous figures linked to Bigfoot encounters include President Jimmy Carter, who reported seeing strange footprints near his home, author Matthew McConaughey, who once claimed a close encounter during a camping trip. Cryptozoologists today argue that history is full of accounts of large, unexplained creatures. Roosevelt's writings provide some of the earliest series of commentary by a public figure on such mysteries. As a cryptid researcher, Lauren Coleman once said, Roosevelt was the kind of man who would keep an open mind about the wild things in the forest, a true explorer of both geography and the unknown. So why does the legend of Bigfoot endure? Perhaps it's because deep down we share Roosevelt's sense of awe for the wilderness, a belief that the world still holds secrets beyond human knowledge. Roosevelt once said, the thrill of adventure is not in conquering the unknown, but in standing humbly before it. Bigfoot, the wild man of the woods, represents that mystery, that intersection of nature, myth, and human curiosity. So whether or not Roosevelt actually saw Bigfoot, his legacy encourages us to explore, respect, and remain curious about the wild places still left in this world. I want to invite you, my listeners, to think about your own encounters with the unknown, whether it's a strange sound in the forest, an unexplained shadow, or a story passed down from generations. Share your thoughts and stories with me. The wilderness is full of mysteries, and sometimes the biggest adventures are the ones that challenge what we believe. So Teddy Roosevelt didn't actually start the National Forest, Yellowstone and all that. It was actually established by President Ulysses S. Grant, who signed the Yellowstone National Park Protection Act into law in 1872. However, the National Park Services, the agency that manages the national parks, was established later by President Woodrow Wilson in 1916. So Teddy didn't have a direct responsibility for the first national park. He established numerous national forests, bird reserves, and national monuments, as well as 5 national parks through the Antiquities Act of 1906. So I think Teddy Roosevelt was like, hey, let's get these national parks going so these creatures have a place to live that's far away from people. That way nobody's getting attacked and things like that. But as we venture further into society of the Bigfoot, we put ourselves in situations where we're in their territory and they're going to attack, right? And I think, if you look up the missing 411 and stuff like that, so many people go missing in different strange ways. It's fairly weird. With that, I just want to say thank you for joining me on this journey into Teddy Roosevelt's wilderness and the legend of Bigfoot. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, I hope this episode sparked your curiosity and appreciation for the unknown. So, if you want to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is polarbearhoth@gmail.com, or you can find me on TikTok and Instagram, polarbearhoth. Feel free to DM me and go check out the Facebook page, Highway the Hidden. Don't forget to subscribe, share your own stories, and tune in next time for more mysteries down the highway. I'm Polar Bear, and until then, keep your eyes open and your mind wild.